The San Juan Capistrano City Council hosted a community workshop to discuss the future of the Northwest Open Space, where plans for a cultural site for the Ajachemen people were approved but have been delayed.
Do you know how many spaces are dedicated to the Ajachemen people in San Juan Capistrano? 0. Now, I am not a resident of San Juan Capistrano for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Our families have been here for 12,000 years.
From the Native American community and non-Native, the residents here at San Juan Capistrano, there seemed to be a consensus that everybody did want the Putuidem project to happen at that site, and that they didn't want any further commercialization going on there from anybody from the outside. 3
years ago, we stood at City Hall, and there was a vote that was 4-1 in favor of the village and to move forward. And yet here we are again, discussing and taking more ideas. That doesn't leave a whole lot of confidence for me in our newly elected representatives. I would at this point like to ask everybody in this room, Native and friends of the Ajachemen, to stand so you have an opportunity to see the support for this village. I'm hoping that the nearly 95% of people that just stood gives you a clear indication of what we want. I want to also mention that when we spoke at City Hall 3 years ago, there was actually a number of other cities that were willing to donate their grant money to support this village. And we never heard from the city again with regards to what does that mean.
I saw the community come together, and I felt like everybody was kind of just tired of always sitting in the back and supporting other projects that have been here in town. This is the last piece of our land, so I could feel that the people were being moved by this.
If this went through 3 councils and 3 mayors, and it was approved and done, let the yes be yes. And in our language, which we lost, I say this: Nukshun lovek ompalof. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, because I'm just one voice, but there's 1,800 people that are still living here, and they have a story, and those stories need to be told.
It's always a hidden conversation that they have, and they really drive where these funds go. There's developer fees that these developers have to pay for projects that they want in San Juan. They touched on it a little bit, but they kind of danced around it to really sway the community to buy into the Red Tail project, is what they're calling it, which consists of the glamping. So they're saying that this particular person that wants to propose this project, the Red Tail project, is willing to pay for the expenses for Putuidem. So that's their way of trying to sell it to the community.
It would be nice to put a comprehensive zone out there, a new one that takes some of the pieces we've had in the past, as well as some of the input that we're getting from the community now, and not just for the Putuidem Village, but whatever's going in there in addition to the Putuidem Village, to make sure that those are consistent uses. And that's part of the reason we're having these workshops, to try to understand what our constituents feel are consistent uses and which ones they feel aren't compatible. So I think for every use that there's a group here in the city that feels like that would be the best. And for some people, as you heard tonight, for some people that's these glamping ideas, that they really value that, and they have to drive too far away to get those uses, and they really value that. So I think that part of it is weighing the volume that you're hearing from those constituencies, but also kind of on a broader level trying to step back and from a city management standpoint, or the stewardship of the city council, saying, okay, but even if one voice is really loud, is that really what we feel is best for the city in a long-term go-forward basis? And I'm hoping that the Native Americans who are here tonight, who have put a lot of effort into this, will also say, hey, this would be great, but also say what else could go out there that would be consistent with what we'd like to see there, that would also hopefully be able to meet the needs of some of these other constituencies, because they are compatible, that we don't need to say this is the only thing that be done there, because there's only so many opportunities, and this land belongs to the public who purchased it. And we need to be able to be as, thoughtful as we can about meeting as many of those needs as we can, as long as they blend well together.
We got 1.2 acres out of the 70 acres that's there. That's all we're asking for. It was very apparent today, watching them talk and control the workshop and really steer people into the right or where they wanted to navigate. And I think that's where the tension started to rise a little bit, where people were just tired of it. You know, we've been waiting for over 300 years since the mission system came here. Our culture changed. They see tribes as casino tribes, and they know the famous ones and the ones that they like to go to, and that's about it, and that's all they care about. And you know, we want to be able to tell our story to our own people and to make sure that they keep the tradition going so it doesn't die out.